It's so easy to overdo the evening makeup. A little bit too much glitter or a little bit heavy-handed with the black eyeliner, and before you know it, rather than looking sophisticated and elegant, you're looking old and haggard. If you are in a makeup rut, this video's for you because I'm going to show you how to do an elegant and sophisticated evening makeup. I'll show you the products to use and the way to apply it, and I'm even going to use a little bit of gold glitter. One of the most frequent mistakes that I see ladies make when it comes to evening makeup is rather than changing the makeup you use or even using some of your existing makeup and applying it differently, they tend to get the same makeup, applying the same way, but just put more of it on, thinking that if you layer it up and make it, more of the product, it's going to look more glamorous, it's going to look more evening. It doesn't work like this. This is not about volume. This is about choosing some products that show up differently on the skin. So we need to get a stronger product that has a better coverage. And for women our sort of age, the Estee Lauder Double Wear is a great product for better coverage. I've already cleansed, toned, moisturised my skin, and I've also got primer on. We're not doing the skin prep today, we're just going straight into the makeup. Because it's a heavier product, I'm also going to apply it with damp beauty blender because it's a thick product, so it almost needs, it's not diluting, it just needs something to help it be more pliable. The thing with the double wear is you apply it and it tends to stick and it tends to fix. So what we need to do is have that ability to move it around. We don't want to be applying too much in one go. So I'm just going to put a spot of that onto my beauty blender, and then I'm literally just wisping it. That's a new application phrase, isn't it? Wisping from the centre, and I'm going to start going out. What you'll also see is I'm avoiding directly under my eye area. The thing with the double wear is it tends to mattify and dry fairly quickly. You don't have an awful lot of time to work with it. So that's why when you get to the stage where it starts to be non-pliable, just pat it into the skin. Next, we have concealer, and what I'm using today is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. Now, this comes in a sort of two-part process because we have to first of all colour correct and then we apply the concealer. It's two different products that do two different jobs. One little tip for this is, no matter how hydrated you are and how well nourished your skin is, I always find that when I come to the concealer, it still just feels a little bit dry. It just still feels a little bit dehydrated. That's an age thing. That's not necessarily just a skincare thing. That comes with age. I've got a little bit of my primer here. This is the Il Makiage primer. I just love this product. But I'm using a tiny, tiny amount, and I'm just dabbing it under the eyes. If you remember, we've got so little foundation around that eye area. So you want to take that inner corner over your lid and make sure you get this outer edge around there as well. We're not after that thick, heavy, made-up look. Too much makeup will make you look older. It's not going to make you look younger because you're applying more makeup. What we want to apply is the better makeup and apply it lightly rather than applying too much that makes us look almost clown-like. So when we're looking at concealer under the eyes, what we're not doing is sort of covering this whole under eye sort of triangular area. We're not going to do that. We need to almost just target the darker area, and that tends to be this sort of trough line down there. With the Maybelline, you click that up and taking a little bit on the brush, and I'm just dotting it on that area down there. You can see. And then I'm taking my beauty blender because I think the beauty blender is great for under the eye. It's soft, and because it's got a little bit of moisture in it, it makes it a lot easier to blend in the concealer without it looking too heavy. So what we should have done then is just to lift it and brightened underneath that eye area. I'm going to apply a little bit more, and I do it separately. If you apply all in one go, it does start to, when I say set, it's dry out a little bit, and therefore it's harder to move. And I'm just going to get these outer edges around the outer corners of the eye. And what you'll see there's not too much going on. You don't have to apply loads. Less is definitely more. It's evening makeup. It's not the amount you apply, it's what you apply and how you apply it. So there we're just taking that outer edge. There we go. That's step one, that's colour corrector. On top of the colour corrector, we need to apply concealer. They do two different jobs. With this range, it's two different jobs. The corrector I'm using is 01, which is a sort of a very light shade. If in doubt, always go a little bit lighter. And now I'm going to just very gently tap underneath the eye area to get that concealer. Again, it doesn't need to be heavy. Don't forget, we just need to take it in that inner corner of the eye. The next thing I do is contouring. The reason being is if we've got very heavily made up eyes, it almost distracts you looking at your face shape, whereas we want to see the face now as a blank canvas. We also want to see it and see our shape and see what we can do to contour and blush before we move on to the eyes. The contouring I'm using, this is a simple Benefits, okay? It's the Hoola from Benefits. Tap it off. Now, there's loads of different ways you can measure your face for where you apply your contouring. But remember, if you apply it now on the cheekbone, which is this bit here, what I'm doing, because the contouring's deeper, I'm pushing the cheekbone in and making it look flatter. It's a darker colour, so it will recede. We don't want to do that. If I take it too far down, I will almost make the base of my face look hollower, and when I start to look hollower, it looks drawn and it pulls your face down. So it's a really fine balance of getting your contour underneath that cheekbone but not too far down. The other lesson you've got to remember is never ever ever take it out. We're always going to be sweeping upwards. It's always going upwards because to the eye we want to be lifting the face going up. If I just apply a pencil there, that is directly on my cheekbone, and it almost goes from the corner of my mouth to the top of my ear. We almost don't want to be going anything above that. Well, that needs to be our top line. So I'm just taking that and sweeping that up. Also remember, don't come too far in. If you look straight into the mirror, to the middle of your pupil going all the way down the middle of your cheek, definitely never further in than there. So we're not going to be coming this far in. It just makes you look drawn and tired. So we're sweeping it out, a little bit up at the temples. Let's get the other side. Sweeping out, up at the temples. When you get into the habit of doing this, it becomes very, very quick. Okay, very, very quick. So I'm not going on the cheekbone, just underneath. So I'm lifting the cheekbone up because I'm creating a shadow underneath that cheekbone. It'll make the cheekbone stand out. What you can do is, if you want to sort of detract from there, the forehead, you want to round, you can take it over the area up there. And again, if we have those jowls forming down there, just take it a little tiny bit on those jowls. Remember, anything dark is going to make things recede. So we want to almost just take a line there. I'm going to take a line there. Because it's just a powder, it blends. It has a really soft line. When applying the blusher, it's quite nice. Pinky, got a little bit of gold shimmer in there as well. So I'll take a little bit on, tap it off, and I'm just going to sweep along just this little area here. We're not taking the whole cheekbone. We don't want too much. Remember, less is more. This is just to give that little lift. So that's just got a very subtle shimmer over my cheeks. So it just gives that highlight. When the light hits it, it'll just make your cheekbone stand out. Be very, very subtle. Anything with any glitter or sparkle or highlight, you've got to do it really, really gently and lightly. I do like my setting sprays. I think setting sprays work so much better than powder because they make you have that more of a dewy look on your face. Powders can make it look a little bit cakey. The one I've got here is an Estee Lauder, simply because that's the one I have in at the moment and the one I'm using. It's a really fine spray. So what we just want to do is set the makeup. What you don't want to be doing is creasing your face up while that's setting. So next we move on to the eyes, and these of course are the focus of your evening makeup. This is what you really want to perfect. This is my Milani primer, eye primer. I'm using a very, very small amount, but what it does, it's almost like a foundation for the eyes. We just need to cover the eye area. You can tell it's a primer because it goes on with that very soft, silky, gentle texture. Okay, you shouldn't be able to see anything there. Let me do the other eye. I'm not too concerned which primer you used, I'm just concerned that you use one. Again, I'll put some links below. Now, I've got a new makeup palette I only bought recently, and I bought it for a few reasons. First thing I saw was the size of the palette, and I thought, that looks really slim and sleek, hence the brand name is Sleek. I also liked the fact it's vegan. But what I also loved is those colours have got an element of sparkle to them. It's a very subtle sparkle. And although I say I don't like glitter and sparkle in eyeshadow, there's a way to apply it and a place to apply it that really makes a huge difference and can make your eyes pop. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, applying eyeshadow. I personally will always apply the lighter colours first and then build up and apply the darker colours on top. Because if you apply any darker colours first, of course, it's really hard, isn't it, to get the lighter colours. Do use something like a little bit of tissue. This is just toilet tissue. You will find it's a great habit to get into. This is protecting underneath your eye from any shadow falling. It's your lifesaver. Because we're going for evening makeup and we want a little bit more depth, for daytime, I would normally have gone for something like this one over here, but instead, I'm going to go for this one here. It's almost like a skin tone. So I apply the tissue underneath, and I'm just sweeping this very gently over the whole of my lid and my brow. The key being, it's not the volume you apply, it's the depth of the product you're using. So if you want to look darker, use a darker shadow. You don't get the same shadow and just apply more of it. So you should be able to see on that eye that we do have a slight tint of colour. This is the base. This is what we're going to work on. What you'll also see is I'm tilting the tissue up at the outer edge. So what that means is I can literally just swipe it along. Because what we don't want is any of this colour to fall below that outer corner to the corner of your eyebrow. So that line up there, outer corner to your eyebrows, we don't want anything to fall below there. We're trying to keep it higher up. The next thing I'm going to do is apply liner. The reason I'm applying liner next is we don't want the liner to show us a line. We want the liner to give us that depth. It's almost like this is the base, we're giving that depth, and then we're going to use shadow over the top to smudge it. So this is just the base. I've not got the black, I've got the dark brown here, and I'm just stroking it along my top lash, but I'm only going half of the way in. You see there? Folding my tissue over, so any line that went on my tissue doesn't go on my eyes. And then I'm just taking a tiny little bit on the outer edge there. We're going to be applying shadow, so we don't need too much. Do the same with the other eye. I'm now going to take, using this same palette, I'm using this darkest brown. I'm using a brush that's like an eyeshadow smudging brush. All we're going to do is take a little bit of shadow, and we're using that to smudge. So we want it to blend. So we're going to take it over to the inner edge. So we're moving it over rather than applying it there. If you need to, just support your eye with your finger. Don't go stretching it. We don't want to be stretching the skin, but you're just supporting the eye with your finger. Now what the brown shadow does is also seals the liner. It's almost like a powder sealant, so it stops it from flaking off. But you can see here I'm going gently over again and again and again, very, very gently. Same thing underneath the eye. What I'm doing, I'm always tickling where the lash meets my eye. So can you see the frame we've got there? Just on to build up, aren't we? Let's go to the other eye. So you can see there, pre and post. Blended, not blended. It's just really important we do the blending. But what we're doing, we're moving inwards because we want that tapered edge to be near the centre of the eye. Now, I'm not pressing hard at all. And same thing again, I'm just tickling the lashes underneath. We're starting to get a little bit of depth, but what we have at the moment is almost the eyes are surrounded and then the lid and the brow bone is just pale. So we need to get some contour in there, don't we? We need to get some depth. I'm going to go back to that same brown I've used under my eyes. So this is just like a deep chocolate brown. This is just getting contour at the moment. We can add colours and variations later. Where you look at your eye straight into the mirror, can you see that bit here is the bit that is visible. If I start darkening too far in that socket, I'm going to be pushing my eyes in and making them look smaller. So we want to almost get some shading and some contour. So what I'm going to do is just define that area a little tiny bit. And if I open my eyes, look what's happened. Like that, look what's happened. So what I'm trying to create is shading on that area. And we're doing almost like a side V. That sort of side V. Eyeliner and up. So the side V goes like that. Remembering again, we don't want anything to go low down. All of a sudden, now we're starting to look made up. Too much for the daytime. So it's still that dark brown, but way too much for the day. I would use that same colour in the daytime, but I wouldn't apply it where I'm applying it to that level. So let me just show you again on the other eye. So let me just take this line over here. Can you see? Do that. And I want to just blend it. Can you see I'm using my tissue again so my fingers aren't touching my skin? And that's a really good habit for you to get in, because whatever you think, you'll always have little bits of makeup on your fingers. I'm going to take, so it's not the darker brown this time, it's not the light one that went all over, it's one that's sort of in between those. It's not quite as light as the one that was the base, and it's not as dark as the one that did the crease line. And this is just going to help blend the shadow under the eye. And we're blending that up. If we use the dark, what we'll find is we'll look too heavy under the eyes. So we don't want it to be too dark. We're just shading it. Yeah? Now we're starting to look made up, aren't we? One of the key things here is, can you see how my eyelid is still light? So now we're getting a little bit more fun. If you want to have a little bit of a play and you want to, let's say, add a little bit of colour, this is where you can do it if you want to do it. Let's have a look. I've got my matte palette here. I've used this a few times. So a bit of a pinky there. And I can just sweep it on this outer edge. And that will just give a colour. So this is where if you want to apply anything like your greens or your purples, that's where you do it. You just apply that on top. And that just gives an element of colour. Now, this is the bit I find the nice bit when we're looking at evening makeup, because, yeah, we want a little bit of sparkle, don't we? We want something just to give that little bit of an edge. They've got a couple of sparkly, like goldy type colours. They've got a bit of a shimmer to them. So I'm going to use one of the golds. I know. Sue is using glitter on the eyes when she said for years, don't use glitter on the eyes. What I'd say about this is you don't want a brush that is too big. It will spread it way too much. But we're just applying that along that corner, inner corner of the eye. And if you have a look there, I've not blended it fully in yet, but can you see how it just lifts that eye a little bit? Now we're starting to have a little bit more of an evening touch. So let me do the same on this eye here. Don't go over the top. It's very easy to get carried away. And then when you've done it, you want to blend over the top. Now can you see how we've got that little bit of a sparkle now? A nice little added touch. One last thing that you can do, so it's a smaller brush, a bit firmer brush. And I'm going to take the lighter colour here. And what I'm going to do is just draw that line underneath my eyebrows. And this is just going to lift this brow bone. We can do that, can't we? Before I do my mascara, I'm going to do my eyebrows. And what I have here is just a cotton wool bud or a Q-tip, a little bit of eye makeup remover, and I'm just dampening the end of the Q-tip, and I'm going to just rub it into the eyebrow. And as you can see on there, can you see we've got makeup coming off that is in your eyebrow. It's another mistake that I see people make, and they go out and their foundation is all mixed into their eyebrows. Not a good look. So I'm literally just cleaning my eyebrows here. The next thing is I'm just going to give my eyebrows a brush them the wrong way, and then you brush them the right way. This is my favourite eyebrow pencil corrector, liner, drawer on or whatever, but I love it. I absolutely love it. It's got like a double pronged end. It's not like a pencil or a powder. It actually paints it on, but it's really, really fine. So I'm going to try and do it so you can see what I'm doing. Just drawing hairs in. Okay, the other side. Now that may look, at the moment, a little bit too drawn. So we brush over it, and it almost enables those eyebrow hairs to blend in. Last step around the eyes, mascara. I like the Maybelline mascaras. This is the Sky High and I find it fantastic. I do also like the tubing mascara. I did do a video all about the difference between tubing and fibre mascara. Tubing mascara is fantastic if you've got contact lenses, watery eyes, it's very sensitive eyes, it doesn't flake. It's a great mascara and it gives us such a super effect. I'm using this one because it's evening. It's a glamorous look. And what we have is a mascara primer followed by the mascara. And the mascara I'm using is I think it's called the Mulberry Mascara. It's got like a purpley touch to it. Brush your eyelashes. Separate them. Take out any little bits of makeup or eyeshadow that could be in there. So always brush them first. Gently, you're placing the curler on and very gently tap to make sure you've not got your skin. Okay, and then we're squeezing. I'm just going to count to 10 and release. Same on the other eye. Gently squeeze so you know you've not caught any skin. Grip tight. And we're taking the primer and you get the base and almost give a little wiggle. You're separating the lashes. Mascara takes time and you're combing those outer edges. What you don't want is clumpy mascara. I'm only using the primer on the top lashes, not the bottom lashes, because if we have too much on the bottom lashes, you look a bit startled. We don't want to look startled, do we? Next, I'm taking the mascara, and this goes on top. And what's nice about the coloured mascara, it can actually just highlight certain eye colours. This one's lovely for blue eyes. And then I'm cleaning off the applicator, taking off any excess, and that's when I'm just going to apply a little tiny bit. I'm almost just brushing the bottom lashes to separate them rather than applying too much. Now, lips. I'm going to use a lip liner. The reason lip liners are fantastic is not only do they give your lips more shape and then make your lips look fuller, they also hold the lipstick in. So if your lipstick tends to bleed a little bit and go in these fine lines we get, this holds it in place. It's a bit like a sort of a fence around the outside. It's a little make-believe fence or barrier. So I'm taking a centre line first of all. So I know the middle of my lips. And then I'm going up and down either side. Centre, up and over, centre, up and over. What we're not doing is going all the way down and around. It doesn't work. And we're only taking the lip line 3/4 of the way down. We're not meeting it at the corner lip. If you meet at the corner of your lips there, you tend to have what I call these clown lips. You know, these full lips. We don't want that. Now, another little trick is fill your lips in with your lip liner. Not all the way, but if you just fill your lips in a little bit, again, your lipstick will last so much longer. Maybelline are having a field day with my video today. These are my products. They're not sent to me by Maybelline. I'm going to be using Maybelline lipsticks. Now, this is for evening, and it's a great little trick to really make your lipstick stay, look more vibrant, and you just look a bit more glamorous. If you do a base of a red, it's like a bit of an undercoat, really, and it just, when the lipstick goes on top, whatever colour you decide, if that starts to wear off, your red has almost stained your lips, so you never look like you've got patchy lips, so you never look unmade up. And I think lips and eyes are crucial if you want that evening makeup look. So I'm going to go over my lip liner with my red lipstick using a lip brush. And we're following the same method. Centre. If you can, avoid smudging your lips together. All that work with your lip liner and your lip brush, and it'll just go blot. Then wipe your lip brush. Let's get that colour out and we can apply the colour that we want to apply. So again, the colour I'm using, it's another Maybelline. I love my Maybelline today. This shade is 320, Steamy Rose, it's called. So this is where I'm getting the colour from my lips. Another little blot. What I like to finish with, this is a Boots number 7. It's just a goldy colour lip gloss. Not overly gold, but it's a goldy colour lip gloss. I like the glosses on lips and older lips. Can you see the difference? I think it makes your lips look fuller. I think it makes them look more moisturised and more nourished. And it stops them looking sort of the dry and older lips. Now, you can't see on those lips red lipstick at all. But what happens is, because we've built it with layers as well, we've got our lip liner, we've got our red, we've got the colour we want for the evening, and then you're just topping off with a bit of sealant, which is like the lip gloss. All of a sudden, your face feels a little bit more made up. And as you're going throughout the night, you top up the lip gloss, you don't need to top up your lipstick because that now is almost sealed. And there we have what I feel, let's have a look here, an evening makeup. It's not over the top, more than your day, with a little bit of sparkle on the eyes. I just need to be able to go out now. I will put a full list of all the products I've used and some options for you in the description box below, just so you've got a one-stop shop to go shopping. You can find them all in there. Any questions you have, do let me know in the comments box, of course. Any questions you have about what to do, anything you're struggling with colours or products, etc. But also, let me know how you get on. Let me know what you've tried and what works and what doesn't work, because I really, really do love to hear. If you haven't already subscribed, it would mean the world if you did. And of course, hit the notification bell and share the video if you can. Go and have a play, go and have fun, go and do it at a time, first of all, where you're not going out. So you can put it on, take it off and have a go again. Be brave, do something that you've not necessarily done before. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.